Promoting dialogue.
It's midday in Dakar, 1 o'clock in Abuja. Good afternoon and many thanks for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and worldwide on wadr.org. Welcome to Newslink, and here are the top stories. Malik Njai elected as new president of Senegal's National Assembly after an initial objection by some MPs from the opposition. Ahead of December 7 polls, latest waxy brief shows erosion of public trust in Ghana's Electoral Commission. Nigerians react to police chief orders to probe into Amnesty International allegation of protesters' death.
The IGP is saying that without the Amnesty International report, he is not aware of these extrajudicial killings. There's no sincerity of purpose in the whole announcement. It's just to deceive unsuspecting Nigerians.
And students of the University of the Gambia protest demand reinstatement of 2 lecturers.
We are not only here to fight for the reinstatement of the lecturers, but again we are protecting the future for a potential loss in great lecturers in the University of the Gambia. What we want, let them solve this problem and reinstate our lecturers.
Please stay tuned for details of these stories and more.
Here is Imo Edit with Newslink.
Many thanks for joining our broadcast. In our first story this afternoon, Senegal has a new president of the National Assembly. El Malik Njai was elected president on the evening of Monday, December 2, illustrating the reshuffles underway within the parliamentary institution. Francis Boniface has more details in this report.
El Malik Njai was elected president on the evening of Monday, December 2, illustrating the reshuffles underway within the parliamentary institution. He became the 15th president of Senegal's legislature during the inaugural session of the new National Assembly, where he secured 134 votes out of the 165 in parliament. 22 MPs voted against, while 7 abstained entirely from the votes. But the voting process was not without any incidences, as MP Guy Marius Sagna initially raised questions about El Malik Njai's ministerial status, asking for clarification on his resignation from the post of Minister of Infrastructure, Land and Air Transport (MITA) in the government led by Ousmane Sonko since PASTEF came to power last March. His objection was, however, challenged by MP Ayib Jaffe, president of the PASTEF parliamentary group, which is also the majority party in the National Assembly. El Malik Njai thanked the House for their cooperation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Je voudrais tout d'abord vous remercier.
I would like to say thank you. Therefore, in accordance with Article 11 of the Rules of Procedures, I request the suspension of this meeting in just 10 to 15 minutes.
Born in 1983 in Jara Jolof in the Luga region, northwest, El Malik Njai, a transport and logistics expert, joined.
Francis Boniface filed that report to Ghana now, where the Electoral Commission held a special voting exercise on Monday across 14 of the country's 16 regions. This initiative allows individuals with critical roles on election day to vote in advance, ensuring they are free to carry out their duties during the general elections. The special voting exercise primarily targeted electoral officials, security personnel and media representatives actively involved in the election process. Despite some challenges, the exercise was largely successful in many regions, paving the way for the general election schedule for December 7, 2024. WDL's Accra correspondent Nadia Etete report.
The exercise allowed eligible voters involved in election-related duties to cast their ballots ahead of the main election scheduled for December 7, 2024. This exercise is crucial for election officials, security personnel, and media practitioners who require early voting due to their roles during the elections. While many voting centers reported peaceful conduct, some areas experienced heightened tension between supporters of different political parties. Tensions escalated in the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency when the incumbent MP Lydia Al-Hassan was captured distributing food packs to voters at a polling station. This act drew criticism from her opponent, John Dumelo of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, who labelled it as illegal and a violation of electoral rules.
Why are you sharing food to people in the queue? Why are you doing that? Why we can't share? We can share. If they want me to share, I also share the same. But let's respect the rules of the Electoral Commission. Don't share anything to the people in the queue who have not voted yet. And you are sharing food and we don't even know what is in the thing. And you are sharing it to the people who have not voted yet. Why they think we can't do it? We can do the same and even worse. They shouldn't even try us.
Lydia Al-Hassan denied the allegations despite being captured on video sharing the food to persons lined up to vote.
I wasn't here. I don't know if you saw me here. I came here before 6 a.m. and I left here a few minutes ago. I don't even know what you're talking about. I am yet to find out from them what happened.
Currently, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is investigating the incident. There were also incidents arising from the decision of some voters to take pictures of their unprinted ballots amid a series of vote-buying allegations. But overall, while there were few challenges, many regions managed to conduct the special voting exercise smoothly with a high voter turnout, setting the stage for the upcoming general election on December 7, 2024. For WADR, Nadidi Teti, Accra.
Staying on election matters, the West Africa Civil Society Institute WACSI, in its latest policy brief, says urgent measures are needed to tackle critical threats to the integrity of the forthcoming elections and ensure a transparent, inclusive and credible process. This comes just a few days until Ghana's pivotal 2024 general elections, where civil society organizations and key stakeholders have sounded the alarm. Christopher Teacher completes the story.
According to the policy brief by the West African Civil Society Institute WACSI, there is a concerning erosion of public trust in key institutions, particularly the Electoral Commission (EC), whose credibility, according to a section of the public, has been severely undermined, with public trust dropping from 75% in 2005 to just 33% in 2022, according to the Afrobarometer survey on the trust in Ghana's electoral system. Additionally, the brief outlines several other critical threats to the elections credibility, including political vigilantism, the underrepresentation of marginalized groups such as women, youth and persons with disabilities, and the unchecked spread of false information. As the countdown to December 7 Ghana's election continues, WACSI and other stakeholders call on political parties, security forces and election monitoring bodies (EMBs) to work together to foster an electoral environment that upholds global democratic principles.
Christopher Teacher with that report. In Mali, the new Prime Minister, Major General Abdoulaye Mega, met with members of the Independent Election Management Authority on Monday. The Malian government aims to work twice as hard to create the conditions necessary for a return to transparent constitutional order. The transitional authorities also hope to involve the political class in the electoral process, which is supposed to end the transition. Here is Aliu Chams in Bamako's report, voiced by Eche Atisu.
A few weeks after his appointment as Prime Minister, Major General Abdoulaye Maiga has been holding numerous meetings with state structures. This is how the head of government went to the AIGE, the body responsible for organizing the presidential election intended to put an end to the transition. During the meeting, the Prime Minister appealed to the organization for a transparent and peaceful vote. For several months, voices have been raised within the political class for a return to constitutional order, whereas until now, it has boycotted the activities of the transitional authorities. To reduce tensions, the government intends to involve political actors in the electoral process. This very first trip by the Prime Minister to the Independent Election Management Authority comes less than a week after the transitional president declared that the organization of elections was one of his priorities.
Ejatisu voiced a report filed by our Bamako correspondent Aliu Cham.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Well, let's take you now to Nigeria, where the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has launched an investigation into allegations by Amnesty International accusing the police of excessive force during the hashtag End Bad Governance protest in August 2024. The organization, in a 34-page report released last Friday, claimed that the police were responsible for the death of 24 protesters and the detention of 1,200 minors, predominantly in northern states. Usman Barana, Abuja report.
The protest, sparked by widespread economic hardships, drew participants from across the country. Amnesty International, in its detailed report, condemned what is described as excessive force by the law enforcement agency, urging accountability for alleged violations. Responding to these accusations on Monday, the Nigeria Police Force described Amnesty's claim as unfounded and inconsistent with their internal reports. Amid Amnesty's allegations, the Inspector General of Police has directed state commissioners to submit detailed incident reports within a week as part of a broad broader inquiry. Despite the probe, skepticism persists. Adenola Michael, convener of Take It Back movement, which participated in the protests, criticized the investigation, accusing the police of complicity.
The IGP is saying that without the Amnesty International report, he is not aware of these extrajudicial killings. There's no sincerity of purpose in the whole announcement. It's just to deceive unsuspecting Nigerians. So it's a deceptive announcement saying what the IGP is just fooling himself, not reasonable Nigeria. What we want to see done is the IGP himself being fired. There's need for somebody to be held responsible for the extrajudicial killings of peaceful protesters which occurred during the August and October protests. So why are we even talking about this? Didn't the IGP supervise the prosecution of very young teenagers?
The hashtag End Bad Governance protest highlighted frustrations over Nigeria's economic challenges, including rising inflation and unemployment, while the government maintained that security forces acted professionally. Right groups continue to call for greater transparency and accountability. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, Usman Umar reporting from Abuja.
Meanwhile, the concerned students of the University of the Gambia have held a peaceful protest at one of the university campuses in Kanfing. They are calling for the reinstatement of 2 lecturers who were recently sacked by the university management for disciplinary behavior. The official UTG student union had called for students not to protest, citing the university management had sorted out their concerns. However, a group of students still went ahead with the peaceful protest, making a series of demands. Alassane Dieng is one of the organizers, and he explained some of their demands.
We are not only here to fight for the reinstatement of the lecturers, but again we are protecting the future for a potential loss in great lecturers in the University of the Gambia. A lot have been said here, and I believe the management should really listen to us. What we want, let them solve this problem and reinstate our lecturers. This is what we want. Secondly, let them respect freedom of speech and democracy. This is a democratic country. These lecturers, what they are fighting for is definitely for the interest of the general students' body. If these lecturers are neglected, if students stay away completely from this issue, time will come. Our good lecturers will leave. We will not have enough people or good lecturers. Rightly, there are other people who have already traveled. You call them, you ask them whether they will come back. They will tell you we will not come back. They have good job, well paid off, and they are in safe. Their rights are protected, well motivated. Why not here? The highest learning institution. The lecturers are on strike today, and the reason why we're here, they are on strike. Our timetable for exam is already out, meaning we expected to have our exams on this coming Monday. So our fate is not known until when with this issue be resolved, because lecturers are saying going on a sit-down strike until further notice. That is an open statement, because that further notice is not specifying any period. We don't expect the student to sit and then watch the situations like that.
Alassane Dieng is one of the organizers of a peaceful protest by students demanding for the reinstatement of their lecturers. You're listening to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM Dakar and online wadr.org. Here is a reminder of our top stories. El Malik Njai elected as new president of Senegal's National Assembly after an initial objection by some MPs from the opposition. Ahead of December 7 polls, latest waxy brief shows erosion of public trust in Ghana's Electoral Commission. Nigerians react to police chief orders approved into Amnesty International allegations of protesters' death. Students of the University of the Gambia protest demand reinstatement of 2 lecturers. And still ahead in the news, World AIDS Day celebrated with about 34,000 Liberians living with AIDS. We do have a press review, guest interview and sports news. Please stay with us.
You are listening to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal.
Don't forget you can listen to us live on wadr.org and follow our live streaming on YouTube and Facebook. Let's come back to Senegal because local governments within the country are struggling with mobilizing the necessary resources to meet the needs of residents in vulnerable communities. To address this gap and improve accountability in the delivery of service across the country, World Vision, a faith-based humanitarian organization dedicated to tackling the causes of poverty and injustice, on Monday kicked off a 5-day workshop of the Local Governance for Development Plus Go Plus project. This cooperative agreement funded by USAID is in collaboration with a consortium of 6 civil society organizations. As Ogubierika reports, the initiative is aimed at promoting citizen engagement and accountability in identifying and addressing service delivery issues affecting communities in Senegal.
Senegal's trajectory towards more democratic governance has continued over the last several years. This has put the focus on participatory governance and increasing partnerships between the state and citizens to implement development priorities. An essential part of this process includes formalizing ways for citizens to voice their needs and concerns, while establishing mechanisms for improved resource mobilization, allocation, and oversight. To support these reforms, World Vision Senegal, in collaboration with USAID and the Senegalese government, developed the Local Governance for Development Plus Gold Plus program. Carl Jean-Louis, Chief of Mission for the Local Governance program, explains.
For the last 7 years, USAID had the first phase, I'll say, of Gold, which mainly is a program that we concentrate on local governance. And the Gold Plus that just started this year in July. The reason why there's a plus is because there are other aspects that have been added to this project, mainly capacity building of the local organizations in Senegal to ensure that in the future there is an organization that has the capacity to receive funds to implement a similar project and see how local authorities and citizens can work together in a transparency way.
The program is expected to consolidate and reinforce the USAID Gold intervention focused on decentralizing governance in Senegal. The National Director for World Vision Senegal, Evariste Habiambere, speaks on the strategies for accomplishing this.
Working relationship with the government of Senegal to work together with the consortium with other local organizations. We are also working through the local entities, the local civil societies.
World Vision Senegal is putting active citizenship at the heart of its sustainable development model by strengthening community capacity while promoting increased commitment from public authorities at local and national levels to improve public services.
Ogubierika reporting there. Meanwhile, the National AIDS Commission and partners of Liberia on Monday celebrated World AIDS Day with a call on citizens to get tested and treated to stop the spread of the deadly virus in the country. From Monrovia, Grace Joshua brings us more details.
According to the UNAIDS, about 1,000 people has died from the virus in Liberia as of 2022. Amidst this report, the spread of the HIV virus is on the increase, with little or no awareness. WHO representative Dr. Peter Clement has called on Liberians to stop discrimination against HIV survivors, adding that they are part of the society. Dr. Clement explained that with the level of discrimination in the country, people are often afraid to visit the hospital to get tested, which is increasing the spread of the virus. He acknowledged the National AIDS Commission and partners for the effort made in supporting the government in this fight, while calling for collective efforts if the 2030 agenda must be achieved.
It's a timely reminder of our responsibility to safeguard human rights as we pursue the goal of eliminating HIV/AIDS in 2030. We all know HIV is a complex health challenge. It cannot be separated from the social determinants such as poverty, gender inequality, and violence, and complicated by stigma and discrimination, especially among marginalized populations. The situation we have here is no different. Protecting human rights is a key component of achieving universal HIV care and breaking down these life-threatening barriers to access.
The commemoration of the World AIDS Day 2024, which were celebrated in Central Monrovia, brought together government ministries and partners under the theme Take the Right Path, My Health, My Right. One goal, one fight to end AIDS together in Liberia. For West Africa Democracy Radio, I'm Grace Joshua in Monrovia.
This is the Newspaper Review. Stay abreast and find out what the top stories are in your country.
This is the Newspaper Review.
The Newspaper Review.
Well, let's remain in Liberia with Grace Joshua for the Newspaper Review.
For today's edition of the Press Review, On the front page of the Heritage newspaper, this story says, government hold major development plans meeting today. LCU graduates over 200 students. LEC gets interim managing director. On the back page of the Heritage newspaper, President Wadr delegates refurnish maternal ward at Portland Health Center. MOH partners celebrate War AIDS Day 2024. We now move to this editorial of the Heritage newspaper. Senator Khan reflects on Senator Prince Johnson's death. A call for healing and unity. We now move to the Daily Observer newspaper. Mass dismissal at NEC. Senator Prince Johnson not buried yet, meaning Justin for his seat. I bring you a part of that story. The political leader of the Liberia People Party, Councillor Tewon Gonglo, has criticized the premature political loss among Liberians politicians, vying to replace the late Senator Prince Yomi Johnson. The Liberia Business Association called for 50 million funds to boost local businesses. Government still indebted to LEC. Big budget slash. I bring you a part of that story. The Institution for Research and Democratic Development has released the 2024 Legislative Performance Report, which highlights significant budget cuts for several critical institutions. On the back page of the Independence newspaper, this story reads, Embrace Innovation. The Liberia National Fire Services kick off fire awareness in school and marketplaces. On the front page of the Front Page Africa newspaper, bold move to accelerating national development. That is how we come to our end of today's edition of the Press Review. I'm Grace Joshua in Monrovia.
Many thanks for the newspaper review there.
Politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
Well, let's take you back to Ghana, where the Electoral Commission held a special voting exercise on Monday across 14 of the country's 16 regions. Well, the special voting exercise primarily targeted electoral officials, security personnel, and media representatives actively involved in the election process. Well, despite some challenges, the exercise was largely successful in many regions, paving the way for Saturday's general election. Well, here is political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Asasante, examining the exercise.
I think yesterday, the first voting, that is voting for the specialized people in the fields of security and media and the rest of them, it went well. There were little or no incidents. And so generally speaking, the process went very well. Unfortunately, though, we had some few spectacles relative to some of the unacceptable practices, which rear its ugly head. One was the fact that there was sharing of food by one of the contestants for the ruling government party, and that raised a lot of tension. The woman in question is saying that he does not know any idea about it, but his word against the public who has also videos about what happened. So the good news is that the Office of Special Prosecutor has come in to look into the matter and decide the way forward. I think that is what it is today. But that aside, there was a security official who also was found taking photo of how he has thumbprinted, and he was also apprehended and taken to the police station to write a statement. If you look at the first scenario, if that is true, that the woman in question did, provide food for the people, it was totally wrong. And that is, if that is true, because our laws frown upon that, because it's not only corrupt practice, but an inducement. So obviously, one would have expected that that would not be the case.
Looking at special voters, people who qualify to vote, the security personnel, and they are the very same people who it is expected that they maintain law and order on the day of elections, are found culpable of committing some of the crimes. Isn't that a call for worry?
It's a call for worry, but human institutions as they are, you always find people in certain position crossing the line.
There is a report by WACSI, West Africa Civil Society Institute, a policy brief, and it shows that there is a distrust or mistrust for the Electoral Commission, and the trust level has dipped from 75% in 2005 to 33% in 2022. And even going forward into this election, there is a large mistrust. What do you make of this policy document report, and how is that a worry to Ghana's democracy?
It is true that issue of trust has been one of the thorny issues in this country, and the opposition party has never had trust with the Electoral Commission. But thank God, getting closer to the election, the flag bearer for the NDC, that is Opposition National Democratic Congress, a leader has commended, as at last week, the EC for the kind of work it has done when the flag bearer was about signing a peace pact. He commended the EC. So it tells you that in spite of the challenges, the NDC also believe that the EC had done a yeoman's job and all that.
Dr. Kwame Asante is a political science lecturer at the University of Ghana. Here is Sport News with Sankule Janko.
The Confederation of African Football CAF President Dr. Patrice Motsepe has expressed deep concern by the stadium stampede in Guinea that has reportedly claimed the lives of over 50 football fans and left others injured during a football match at the Stade 3 Avril in Zerekore. The tragedy occurred during a friendly football tournament between the city of Zerekore and the city of Lebe. CAF President Dr. Motsepe conveys his and CAF's deepest condolences to the families of the deceased, the Guinean Football Federation, leadership, and the people of Guinea. The government says at least 56 people have been killed in the stampede. However, reports in Guinea fear the death toll is more than the government's official number, saying the death is closer to 100 people. The tragedy was reportedly provoked by a referee's decision after sending 2 players from the visiting Labe team and awarding a controversial penalty to the home side. Supporters reacted, leading to chaos and the subsequent stampede. Government officials say authorities have launched an investigation into the matter. And that's it for sports. It's back to you.
Sankule Janko with Sport News there. And we've come to the end of this edition of Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening, and many thanks to Christian Mukudi and Maudojo for the technical support. Do connect with us on all of our social media platforms, X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, RWDR News, and Facebook, West Africa Democracy Radio, English Service. I am Imo Edet. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening.